Cop grabs old black woman at mall. Freezes when her stranger son steps in. "Take your hand off my mother," the young man said quietly. The mall went silent. The officer's grip tightened on the old black woman's wrist. "Sir, step back. This doesn't concern you." The young man's jaw clenched. "It concerns me the moment you drag my mother like a criminal without proof." Cameras were already out. Shoppers whispered. The old woman's hand shook as she clutched her handbag. And in that moment, between the fear in her eyes and the arrogance in the officer's voice, everything this man believed about justice was put to the test. Before we go on, pause this story for just a second. If you were standing in that mall, would you speak up or keep walking? Stick around to the end and decide for yourself. And if you love real lifestyle stories that hit your heart and make you think, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Maya didn't like malls. Too bright, too noisy, too many people bumping into her like she was invisible. But her son, Jordan, insisted. "Mom, you need new shoes. The ones you're wearing are older than my student loan," he joked, taking her arm as they walked in. "Student loan that you finally paid off," she replied with a proud smile. "Because you worked like a donkey for it." Jordan laughed. "And because someone packed my lunch for 10 years straight." They moved slowly past glittering shop windows, Christmas lights still hanging even though the season was over. Families rushed by with shopping bags. Music floated from store speakers. Maya stepped into a clothing store, her fingers brushing a soft, blue cardigan. "Try it," Jordan encouraged. "Blue suits you." "I'm just looking," she said. "Window shopping is free." He smiled. "I'll be just over there grabbing a coffee from the stand. You shout if you need me, okay?" She nodded, distracted by a display of scarves. Jordan walked toward the coffee cart in the middle of the mall, but his eyes kept drifting back to his mom. Years of worry had built a habit in him. He always watched her when they were out. Not because she was weak, but because the world wasn't always kind to people who looked like her, especially older black women. Inside the store, Maya moved slowly along the racks, humming softly. She picked up the cardigan, pressed it against herself in the mirror, and smiled. It had been a long time since she'd liked something for herself. Then she checked the price tag. Her smile faded. They think I'm the president," she muttered, putting it back neatly. "It's okay. Looking is enough." As she turned to leave, a sharp voice stopped her. "Mom, excuse me. Can you open your bag?" Maya blinked. "My bag." A young sales assistant stood there, tight smile, eyes narrowed. Beside her, a security guard hovered, radio already in hand. "We saw you near the knitwear," the assistant said. "Store policy. Random bag check." Maya gripped her handbag tighter. "Random? There are 10 people in this store, and you choose the old woman with gray hair." "It's just procedure," the assistant said, but her gaze carried accusation, not concern. "No, Maya replied softly. Not like this." The security guard stepped forward. "Ma'am, if you don't cooperate, we'll have to involve the police." "You called them already," Maya said, looking at his radio. "Didn't you?" He glanced away. A few minutes later, Jordan turned, coffee in hand, and his stomach dropped. He saw his mother outside the shop, surrounded. A police officer had arrived, tall, broad, white, with a hard set to his mouth. Maya stood there, clutching her handbag like a lifeline. "What's going on?" Jordan whispered, already moving closer. He heard the officer's voice before he got there. "So you refuse to open your bag?" "I refuse to be treated like a thief because I'm old and black," Maya replied, voice shaking but eyes stubborn. "If you think I took something, check your cameras." "We don't have time for games," the officer snapped. "Turn around and place your hands behind your back." The mall air thickened. Shoppers slowed down, watching, pretending not to stare. Jordan felt something hot rise in his chest. The officer reached for Maya's arms. That's when Jordan's voice cut through. "Hey," he called. "What do you think you're doing?" He stepped between them without thinking, coffee cup falling from his hand and splashing across the tiles. The officer frowned. "Sir, step back. Not until you tell me why you're putting your hands on my mother," Jordan said, eyes locked on him. "Your mother," the officer repeated, briefly thrown. "Yes. Her name is Maya Carter. She's 68. She worked as a nurse in this city for 30 years," Jordan said, voice trembling with controlled anger. Now explain why she's being treated like a criminal. The sales assistant crossed her arms. She refused a bag search. That's suspicious. Suspicious is not a crime. Jordan shot back. What did she supposedly take? The assistant hesitated. We haven't done a full check yet, but... So you have no proof, Jordan said. Just a feeling. The officer's jaw tightened. We received a call. We have to respond. Respond, yes, Jordan said. But respond doesn't mean grab and humiliate. Did you ask to see the footage? Did you check if she even had time to hide anything? Or did you see a scared old black woman and decide that was enough? Murmurs rippled through the watching crowd. A woman with a stroller whispered, "He's right." They didn't question anyone else. A teenage boy muttered, "My Nan looks like her. I'd lose it if someone did this to her." The officer looked around, suddenly aware of the eyes on him and the phones. Jordan's voice dropped low, but his words were razor sharp. "I'm a legal researcher," he said. "I work with a civil rights organization downtown. I know exactly what wrongful arrest and discrimination look like. Are you sure this is where you want to take this?" The security guard shifted uneasily. The sales assistant's confidence crumbled. Maybe we overreacted," she stammered. "We just had thefts recently, and... Yet somehow the only person you chased is the elderly black woman who didn't even buy anything," Jordan said. Interesting pattern. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the officer slowly released his grip from Maya's wrist. "Ma'am," he said stiffly, "you're free to go." Maya's eyes filled with tears, not just from fear, but from years of tiny humiliations stacked on top of each other. "Free to go," she repeated softly, "like I was in prison for looking at a sweater." Jordan stepped closer, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "We're leaving, Mum," he said, "but this won't end here." He turned to the officer and the store staff. "You will be hearing from us," he said calmly. "From me, and from the organization I work with. And when we're done, maybe this mall will finally train its staff to see people as humans first, not walking stereotypes." A few shoppers started clapping. Not a thunderous applause, just a scattered, shaky show of support. But for Maya, it was enough. For once, she wasn't standing alone. Later that night, Jordan sat at the small kitchen table, laptop open, documents spread out. Maya sat opposite him, a blanket around her shoulders, a mug of tea in her hands. "You don't have to fight," she said quietly. "I'm used to these things." "That's exactly why I have to," he replied. "Because you're used to it. Because this has been normal for too long." He paused, then looked at her gently. "Mom, how many times has something like this happened that I don't know about?" She looked down into her tea. "More than you would like to hear." Jordan swallowed hard. "Then this time, we write it down," he said. "We file a complaint. We send the footage people recorded. We request an investigation, diversity training, public apology. Maybe they listen. Maybe they don't. But they won't say they didn't know." Maya watched him type, her son who once cried when kids laughed at his cheap shoes, now building a case with steady hands. "You grew up," she whispered. "You raised me," he corrected, "to stand up when something is wrong, even when my voice shakes." Weeks later, the story hit local news. Mall investigated after wrongful detention of elderly black woman. The headline read, "The mall released a public apology. Staff underwent mandatory training. The store assistant was reassigned. Policies around random checks changed. It didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the moment a hand closed around Maya's wrist. But it meant her humiliation wasn't just swallowed and forgotten. It became a line in the sand. If you're still watching, here's the question only you can answer. When you see someone treated unfairly, especially someone older, someone who looks like they've already carried too much, will you stay silent? Or will you be the voice that says, "Take your hand off my mother"? If this story touched you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done in that mall?